If you want to start making money selling AI to businesses, this is the first video you'll need to watch, and I'm going over two things. First is how to pick the best niche to sell to, and second is how to create your offer tailored to that niche. So let's go right into how to pick a money niche for AI. So first things first, this is what everyone does, right? Restaurants, gyms, realtors, e-commerce, but it's way too broad and there's no urgency. These businesses are super low ticket and everybody is calling them, trying to offer them that AI receptionist, that AI powered booking, and it's not really working. I wouldn't use the word saturated, but they're pretty saturated. So why this fails? Everyone pitches them. Instant price shopping, right? If they get so many people pitching them and they're actually looking to make that decision, they now have 10 contacts. Someone offered them $500 a month, $200 a month, $2,000 a month, and they're of course just gonna go with the cheapest one. With these niches, there's no specific pain. There's no reason to move now, right? They have so much volume with super low ticket that if they lose a couple clients, nothing's really gonna change in their business. The business owner thinks it's a cool idea, but they'll need to think about it. And that's with most people in this niche. And you sound like a tool, not a solution, not a huge problem solver for this business, right? And this is what the owner hears. This is not built for my business. I've heard this so many times before. It seems optional, not urgent, and I'll deal with this later. And this is what happens when you go really broad. It's going to take a while to actually get that sale because you're going to have to go through a lot of people. There's a lot more objections. There's very low close rates, and there's a race to the bottom on price. Whoever can give them the best price is who they're going to go with. And there are so many people selling to them. So this is why we do not want to go with restaurants, gyms, realtors, e-commerce, or anyone who kind of fits that niche. Okay, so back to what really matters, how to pick a money niche for AI. Not industries, but economics. First thing, so there's three things we want to look for. They don't have to have all three, but I like when they have 2 out of 3, but if they do have all three, bonus points. First thing is misleads. Right? They have missed calls, late replies, no follow-ups, and this happens daily, right? These businesses are really struggling with missed calls, no follow-ups at all, or late replies, and there is a lot of lost money in that. And if it happens daily, you can make that business owner realize that this is an issue for them that they need to get fixed, and you're here to fix it for them, right? Second thing we're looking for is a high cost per lead, $300 to $5,000 a customer, right? That is very high ticket. Roofing, $5,000 a customer. $300 is the low end, but we want expensive customers because if we can capture an extra 10 leads a month for them, right, and their average ticket is $1,000 a customer, we just made them an extra $10,000. But if we were to do the same for a restaurant and their average ticket price was $60, we only capture them $600. So we want very expensive cost per leads, right? And these businesses have to have high urgency. If a business owner is not ready to make that decision and it's kind of a slower process, it's going to be hard to get a close. And real buying intent matters. When we're selling to these businesses, we want to make sure we're only talking to buyers and they actually have intent in buying, because this problem that they have, you can solve it. And in these businesses, one lead matters. If I'm a roofer and I'm doing 3 jobs a month at a ticket price of $20K roof, right? We're doing $60K revenue a month. But if I got an extra 2-3 jobs, if I got an extra 1 job, that's an extra $20,000 in that month. That can make or break my business and keep my business afloat. So that one lead really matters to me. The third thing we're looking for is an owner feeling pain, right? They either have a small team, super busy owner, or no systems, or just outdated systems. What I always like to say is we're not here to replace your systems. We're here to integrate with your systems and make them flow perfectly and optimize them, right? But business owners will always complain about, oh, I hate answering the phone, or like business owners will have so many leads. Like I've gone to meetings with so many business owners that get 100 leads a day and run no reactivation campaigns. They're literally sitting on money, liquid gold, but they're not doing anything with their contact list. So that's the third thing, owner feels pain, right? And AI doesn't sell because it's smart. AI sells because it stops lost money, right? We do not want to get on this meeting and start talking about all of our systems and how they work We just want to talk about how we can save them a lot of money and capture a lot of revenue they had no clue they were missing. And that all goes back to what a good offer looks like, who this actually matches, right? This matches med spas, law firms, home services. Home services are the best. A lot more people are starting to sell to them, but if you can dial in a pretty good offer and kind of know what you're doing, you will win a lot of business in home services, whether that's HVAC, roofing, plumbing, it all works. Clinics and dentists, it matches them perfectly, but they're a little harder to reach if you don't have decent connects, because anytime you call them, you're just talking to a front desk and they'll say, hey, leave an email, but these niches are not random at all. They actually match all three of our criterias. And why these businesses win is because they all have high intent leads. Each lead to them is worth a lot of money, and there's immediate responses required. So for example, if I got a leak in my toilet, right? I need this fixed. If I call a plumber and he doesn't answer, I'm not waiting for him to call me back. I'm going and calling the next plumber. And that person just lost that business now. Missed calls equal lost money. A lot of business owners will say, yeah, I answer most of my calls. I do get a lot of spam though. So if the number looks spammy, I just don't answer it. That is the perfect selling point. How do you know if that number is spammy? And what happens if it isn't spam? You just listen. And when I say what happens if it isn't spam, they go, oh, well, I'll hear the voicemail and then I'll call them right back. I'm like, brother, you listening to that voicemail, they're already on the phone with the next plumber. You already lost that business. I'll say, what do you think your retention rate is with people that leave voicemails and you calling back? Very low, right? Very low. Because it is very low. They're on to the next person. Missed calls equal loss of money, and speed beats branding. It doesn't matter who has the best logo, who has the best website. It's who can get to these customers the fastest and have a competitive price. So all these businesses can be very well affected with AI. And a lot of money is left on the table from these businesses not losing AI. Common trait with them is every missed call is a measurable dollar loss. What I like to do is something called the ROI calculator, especially with missed calls, right? What that is I ask a business owner, how many calls do you think you miss in a month? And by the way, for the sake of this, I'm gonna do easy numbers because I'm doing the math in my head. But he says, I miss 100 calls in a month. Say, okay, man, that's a lot of missed calls. How much do you think the average client is worth to you? Let's say $1,000, right? Each client's worth $1,000 and he's missing 100 calls. Very cool, man. And out of all phone calls you get, what percent of it do you think turns into actual paying business? He'll say, let's say 25% of my phone calls turn into paying business, right? So if he's getting 100 calls and 25% of them turn into paying business, that's 25 phone calls that he could have captured, but he didn't answer the phone. And if each client is worth $1,000 to him, he's missing out on $25,000. Now, how I pitch that and how I offer that is, hey man, at this many calls missed a month with this average client value, and this percent of your clients actually turn into paying business, you're leaving $25,000 on the table every single month from one simple thing. And that simple thing is not answering the phone. What I have here is this kind of catered package specifically to, let's use roofers, that is going to capture all those leads, put them right into your CRM, and make sure you win that business every time. And you want to know the best thing about it, man? It's only $1,500. And that I can make that business owner realize that, what? I am losing $25,000 a month. Like, he showed me the math. He did the math in front of me. I can't argue with that. I can't do anything with that. He did the math in front of me. So when I hear, okay, it's only going to cost me $1,500 a month, that's not too bad. If I can actually capture this amount of money, that's not that bad. And these are not random niches. They rely on inbound demand, phone first conversations, and fast follow-ups. These niches are great. While I was editing this video, just want to come in and show this. One of our students, Anthony, who joined, I think, 4 or 5 days ago, has already made $2,500. $1,500, another $2,500 coming Thursday, so $4,000. He is absolutely killing it. So if you do want to join, it does cost money, by the way, but we have students that get real results if you actually put the work in. There will be a link in the description where you can fill out a form and one of my team members will contact you. We've helped people get their agency from $0 a month to 10K a month, and help people get their agencies from 10K to 50K a month. Links in bio if you are interested. Now back to the video. The next thing is offer creation, right? We already found our niche. We have a killer niche. By the way, to help find your niche, use AI. Don't just pick a niche that you think you know a little bit about, because sometimes you just can't get any business in it. Use AI to help you find a niche, help you get knowledgeable about that niche, and then sell to that niche. So now we're on to offer creation. We're creating our offer catered to that specific niche that we made, right? What they buy. Business owners want more jobs without more ads, right? They get a lot of calls from marketers asking to run their Google ads or Facebook ads, whatever it is. They get a lot of people try to run their ads, and business owners do have people running their ads, and a lot of business owners are spending a lot of money on ads. I've gone on meetings with business owners that spend $1,000 a month in ads, and I've gone on meetings with business owners that spend 30, 40 grand a month on ads. But it's all the same thing. They're all spending money on ads, right? They're all paying for their leads. They're not getting natural conversions, right? Even if they are ranked really high on Google SEO, they're still spending money on ads. And if a business owner is spending money on ads, they're actively investing into their business. So that's actually a qualifying question before I get on meetings with business owners is, are you running any ads right now? Are you paying someone to run any ads? And if they are, they're more likely to close because they're already actively spending money in their business, rather than someone running, a one-man mom and pop shop that's not running any ads and doesn't have much money, and they're actually scared to invest in their business. Now, there's 4 elements of a quality, compelling offer. First element is an attractive offer, right? Obvious value. Our offer is going to have obvious value. It's very easy to understand, and it solves a painful problem. Example, stop losing jobs from missed calls, right? And we could sell that person a 24/7 AI receptionist, instant follow-up, auto booking. What I like to say, kind of with offers, the 1-sentence rule. It's not a good offer if you cannot explain your offer in 1 sentence. You don't want to nerd out. You don't just want to start yapping. You want to explain your offer and provide a lot of value within 1 sentence. And that's what separates a bad offer from a good offer. Next thing is risk reversal, right? When we're presenting our offer to these business owners, if there seems like there's a little bit of risk for that business owner, they're going to be scared. They're going to ask a lot of questions. They're going to say, hey, can you email me over 5 year testimonials? I want to meet with your prior clients. I've seen this happen firsthand a lot, right? But if you get on that meeting with this business owner and you show that there is very low to little downside, right? What could go wrong? A clear break even. What I mean by that is this business owner is going to think, okay, worst comes worse. And I know this guy's telling me, I could capture 10 jobs a month, but on the low end, because I am missing this many calls, we could capture 3-4 jobs a month. And then that's going to pay for the system itself, right? So even if stuff does go bad and it doesn't do as good as he's saying, I'll still break even. So there's really no risk. And then also predictable ROI, right? Predictable return on investment. These business owners, if they're shelling out money, they want to know that there's going to be a return on their investment. And if you can kind of give them a roadmap of, okay, month 1, we can go up 15%. Month 2, 20%. Month 3, 30%. Because as you build your contact list, you're just going to have more leads to retarget. So you can kind of show them a visual, predictable ROI, right? Next thing is bonuses, right? Bonuses, you need to have an increased perceived value. And that might not sound the best, but business owners, they need to kind of be sugar coated. If I'm telling a business owner we can capture an extra 10 leads in that first month, we're most likely not. I mean, we still could, but we have to make it seem like there's so much value in this, and they kind of have to do this. And that's why I have at the bottom value stack. We just want to give them so much value, so much value, so much value. I know this is going to be on the next part, but I'm just going to go ahead and say this now. How we kind of give our value is we offer free business AI consultations, right? we're giving them free value before they even before we even talk about anything about money. We're giving them free value by consulting their business with AI, finding the leaks in their business that can be fixed with AI, right? And reduce setup friction, right? We don't want to make them think that, oh, we're going to have to go get this custom built by developers. It's going to take 2 months of testing, right? It's a very simple process, Give us 2 weeks and we'll have this fully built and tested and plugged into your business, right? And what you could include is missed call text back, no-show reactivation, CRM logging. Another thing is never negotiate with clients or potential clients, right? If I'm selling an AI receptionist and a Google review campaign to someone for $2,000 up front and $1,500 a month, they'd be like, could you knock off $1,000 off that build out, right? Instead of going back and forth with someone and negotiating with them, we probably don't want that guy anyways, because simply he's going to be a pain in the ass to deal with if he's negotiating. They're going to ask a lot of questions, and it's just not going to be, that good for his client. But instead, what we do so we can still win that client, if I'm selling him AI receptionist and Google review campaign, and he's negotiating the price, I'm saying, hey man, I'm really not supposed to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and throw in AI that's going to respond to every review you get with a personalized message, right? So, okay, I don't have to respond to my reviews anymore. And so, okay, but that's not really worth that $1,000. But, he's right. It really isn't worth that $1,000. But now how I'm going to increase the perceived value is I'm going to say, hey man, if I'm a customer and I'm checking your reviews and I see that people leave reviews, but you don't really respond to them, you're not an active business owner. You don't really care about your business. But if I go to Google reviews and I see that every single review you have, you responded with a personalized paragraph to them that's pertaining to their actual review, you're an active business owner. You actually care about your customers and you want your customers to have the best. That would make me do business with you, right? Even though that's not really the case in most scenarios. It could be the case, but it's not really the case in most scenarios. I'm increasing the perceived value of it. So now I can get them to pay that $2,000 up front instead of negotiating price back and forth with them. And the fourth thing is sense of urgency, right? Urgency happens daily and it compounds over time. If we tell a business owner every missed call is going to equal lost money, we're going to tell them that, but we have to make them realize that, every day they don't make this decision, they're just going to keep losing more money. If they're missing 10 calls a day, the longer they wait, the more money they're losing. And this is kind of an example of a good offer, and what a good offer looks like is it solves one painful problem, right? Outcome is obvious and measurable, right? He knows exactly what they're paying for, what they're going to get, and what the outcome of it is. And it's going to pay for itself fast. Example of a good one is stop losing jobs from missed calls with a 24/7 AI receptionist. And then, that's a good offer if I'm going to go around and sell AI receptionists to people. But then how I actually get them to get on the meeting and show up to that meeting, even though I'm selling a 24/7 AI receptionist, and I'll definitely mention that in the cold call, I'm offering free business consultations, right? So I'm going to get on that meeting and ask them some discovery questions about their business to see if we'd even be a good fit to work with them. Sorry, switch that around. To see if they would be a good fit to work with us, right? We're exclusive, right? Business owners can't just come in and work with us. We have to make them realize that they need us. We don't need them. So we offer free business consultations. And if, they're not missing any phone calls, then you can pitch to, well, you're paying a receptionist $15 an hour. With AI, you'd be paying it $2 an hour and it would work 24/7. And if they're still not biting on that AI receptionist, then when you're on that meeting, just pivot to something else. A reactivation campaign, Google review. Even if they don't have many jobs, run their ads. We're trying to get our foot in the door any way we can, right? An example of a bad offer is they try too many things, right? You're trying too many things. It's very explanational. It's very long, sounds technical or vague, and the ROI is pretty unclear, or, eventually it could happen. Example, hey, I'm selling AI-powered automation solutions for business growth. That's not attractive, right? So out of these two offers, what do you think is going to attract more business? Right here or right here? Obviously the one on the left, right? That's how we're going to get a lot of meetings booked, have a decent show rate, because in this business, you're going to have no-shows. It's the reality of any kind of sales business. People are going to no-show. But with a good offer in a good niche, we're going to have the best show rate and still have a decent close rate while making money. So that kind of wraps up the video. If this is your first time watching, I appreciate it. Drop a sub.